The Urantia book. The Urantia book. Paper 49. Paper 49 is the inhabited worlds. The inhabited worlds. In part 2 of the local universe. All mortal inhabited worlds are evolutionary in origin and nature. These spheres are the spawning ground, the evolutionary cradle of the mortal races of time and space. So it goes on and on. Information. There couldn't be any more pertinent to Urantia. That's the name of this planet in the Urantia book. The Urantia book. Urantia is the name of this world in this book. And now they're talking about the inhabited worlds, such as Urantia, paper 49. So a lot of information here. Planetary life, the universes of time and space are gradual in development. The progression of life, terrestrial or celestial, is neither arbitrary nor magical. On and on here. Information about the inhabited worlds, the evolutionary human well-being planets in existence in the grand universe, planetary physical types, atmospheric types, elemental types, on and on here. 7. Number 7 is unnamed types. The present atmospheric status of Urantia is almost ideal for the support of the breathing type of man, but the human type can be so modified, etc., etc. They say somewhere in the Urantia book, having to do with life carriers, this planet as an experimental planet, in terms of the diversity of creation and giving life carriers more leeway in terms of creating different types of animal creatures, leading up eventually on this world, of course, almost 1 million years ago to humans. But in terms of the entire history of this particular inhabited world, they say that because the planetary atmosphere for this world is so ideal, that was part of the reason why they made this an experimental world. It's also called a decimal planet in the Urantia book. For some, I'm sure exactly why, but maybe the word decimal has a particular definition in, but a decimal planet, or every 10th planet, evolutionary well-being planet, is an experimental planet, in the sense of the life carriers don't have to stay to a more strict or a strict implantation of life or bringers of life to that planet in terms of life implantation or putting live animals on the planet. This planet was a planet of life implantation. I believe they say in the Urantia book that they can put live animals, like adult type animals, on the planet of whatever type, and then allow evolution to go from there. I think they sort of say that, or they definitely say that, or maybe I'm not positive. But on this planet, it was life implantation, meaning that some vegetable matter was put in 3 parts of the world, and in one of those parts of the world, the vegetable matter eventually became animal life. Eventually, through evolution, human evolutionary will beings were born, created, made. But because the atmosphere of this world is so ideal for human evolutionary will beings, that's part of the reasoning why this world was allowed to be, made to be, an experimental planet in that sense. Uh, uh, and there's a line in the book, like the life carriers, in terms of this experimentation, what they're trying to do is improve the life form in the entire universe of Nebanon. Like, can they come up with different ways of living life forms for for a human evolutionary world or an evolutionary world? Can they come up with life forms that improve the overall types of life forms in all of Nebanon? The universe of Nebanon, that's the name given to this local universe, Nebanon. There's 100,000 local universes in a super universe, and there's 7 super universes. I believe that makes for 7 trillion. If there's 10 million potential inhabited worlds in each local universe, I believe that makes for 7 trillion total planets, just like Urantia. Human evolutionary will-being planets. Worlds of the non-breathers. There are non-breathers. It's discussed in terms of what type of human evolutionary well-being they are. They don't fuse with thought adjusters. They fuse with spirit adjusters, and are spirit fused human evolutionary well-beings, I believe, are the permanent citizens of the capital of Nebanon, Salvington. Evolutionary will creatures is section 4 in paper 49. We do not regard a planet as having emerged from barbarism so long as one sex seeks to tyrannize over the other. I believe they definitely mentioned this in your Urantia book. It's talked about. What I remember, my idea, or my what I remember about it, on some worlds, the female dominates because they're taller. I believe. I'm not sure if they even say that. On some worlds, the females dominate. On most worlds, the males dominate, I believe, is what the Urantia book says, and it's saying. There's a few sentences, paragraphs about this reality in the book. Quite a few paragraphs or sentences about this topic subject. I don't know if they even say the females on the female dominated worlds are taller, but I get the impression that they are from the way the sentences or paragraphs are phrased or the words used in the Urantia book about the subject. Human beings are all gregarious, both tribal and racial. These group segregations are inherent in their origin and constitution. Such tendencies can be modified only by advancing civilization and by gradual spiritualization. The social, economic, and governmental problems of the inhabited worlds vary in accordance with the age of the planets and the degree to which they have been influenced by the successive sojourns of the divine sons, such as myself. The social, economic, and governmental problems on Urantia will vary according to the degree that they're influenced by myself as a Paradise Magisterial Bestowal Son, currently on Urantia. The social, economic, and governmental problems of Urantia will vary to the degree to which they have been influenced by myself. So the social, economic, and governmental problems of Urantia will vary in accordance with the age of this planet, which it's a young sphere, it's an immature sphere, and the degree to which this planet has been influenced or has now been influenced by Michael of Nebadon, who bestowed himself on this world as Jesus of Nazareth, the divine son. So I'm a second bestowal, a magisterial Avonal son, as a man, a male baby born of woman. A bestowal son, myself. So we're the only two divine sons who have been here, although they use the word divine fairly liberally in the Urantia book. I do not think they use the word divine to describe the local sons of God, those sons of God which are created in the local universe, as opposed to Paradise Avona, where creator sons, magisterial Avonal sons, such as myself, Trinity teacher sons, and many, many other beings, and many other sons of God are created, born, made, and some of those sons go out to the evolutionary creation, such as myself currently as a magisterial son on a bestowal mission here on Urantia. So as far as high sons having been on this sphere, the planetary prince was a Lanandex son, a high son of a local universe created by the creator son, Michael of Nebadon, and his consort, the divine minister, the spiritual mother of this local universe. Those two beings created many orders of beings, and one of them is the Lanandex, and Lanandex, amongst other duties, the secondary Lanandex are the spiritual rulers of the evolutionary human will-being planets, such as Urantia, this planet. And that would be a high son who has been here, Melchizedek, the highest sons in the local universe. Melchizedek was here as a full-grown adult, put on the sphere 2,000 years ago, roughly, or 2,000 years before Jesus, roughly. Uh, 4.4, 4.7. All right. Section 5. The planetary series of mortals. Many explanations about this. Brain type series, spirit reception series, planetary mortal epics, creature kinship serials, adjuster fusion series. So, as far as human evolutionary will beings being created, it varies greatly. The first thing I can think of that is most pertinent is, to me, a one brain sphere, a two brain sphere of human evolutionary will beings, or a three brain sphere of human evolutionary will beings. We are of the two brain type of human evolutionary will beings on this planet. They say there's a line in the book, something about even at their best, even in light and life, even at the full epitome, the pinnacle of human evolutionary will-being development in terms of the goodness of the planet, in terms of the goodness of every single human being on that planet, in terms of light and life, and the greatest character attainable in terms of love and goodness for every single human being on that planet. The one brain series types of human evolutionary will beings can go so far with it. The two brain series can go a little further than the one brain series in terms of the overall what those beings can do on the planet in terms of high spirituality as highly evolved evolutionary will beings on that planet. But then the three brain series human evolutionary will beings, when they've achieved the highest state of light and life, the goodness of every single being on the planet, in terms of the greatness, goodness, moral righteousness, just the best character any given human being can be, in terms of the three brain series. In total, for all the beings on that planet, they go even further, like in terms of what they can do as spirit beings, or not as human, not as spirit beings, as human evolutionary will beings on that planet, what they can do in terms of the activities they have available. Everything about the sphere is even higher in a sense of what they can do and accomplish in terms of activity, much greater, or quite a bit greater than the two brain series. And the two brain series can do it better than the one brain series. There's a line in the book, something like that. I'm paraphrasing, some kind of general idea like that. All such comparative estimates concerning the intellectual progress or the spiritual attainments of any world or group of worlds should, in fairness, recognize planetary age. Much, very much, depends on age, the help of the biologic uplifters, and the subsequent missions of the various orders of the divine sons, such as myself. Comparative estimates concerning the intellectual progress or the spiritual attainments of Urantia should, in fairness, recognize me, you, anyone living on this planet, or has lived on this planet, or will live on this planet, the planetary age. Much, very much, depends on the age of the planet, the help of Adam and Eve, who were here but left because of default, and my subsequent mission. Comparative estimates concerning the intellectual progress or the spiritual attainments of Urantia should, in fairness, recognize this planet's age. Much, very much, depends on age. The help of Adam and Eve, and my mission. As a magisterial vonal son on Urantia, currently, as a man born of woman, in a bestowal mission. My order of divine sons is the magisterial vonal sons. So, comparative estimates concerning the intellectual progress or spiritual attainment of Urantia should, in fairness, recognize that this is a fairly immature sphere. They say there's a line in a book. There's a line in the book that because of the rebellion of this planet and the system, that this world, Urantia, would be about one dispensation behind in terms of epical revelations. Something like that, as far as like the exact wording or the phrasing in the Urantia book about it. But like this world would be one epical revelation better than what it is currently in terms of the overall goodness of every single being on the planet, in terms of the overall evolution of this world towards light and life, the goodness of the people, the beings, human evolutionary will creatures on this planet would be better, or would be one dispensation or epical revelation further along normally for this world, a world such as Urantia. But because of the spiritual rebellion that has taken place on this sphere and in this system, we as a planet are one dispensation behind in terms of growth as a planet. So this planet is a very immature planet in terms of the character of the humans on this planet, the human evolutionary will beings on this planet. It's a young sphere. So for any world that I might go to as a magisterial donal son, whether in a magisterial mission as a full-grown adult on the sphere, or in a bestowal mission as a man born of woman, as a baby born of woman on that planet, um, comparative estimates concerning the intellectual progress of any world in Nebadon, potential 10 million inhabited worlds in Nebadon, similar to Urantia, should in fairness recognize their planetary age. That planetary age very much depends on the age of the planet. This world, almost 1 million years ago, was the birth of human evolutionary will beings. In this book, the Urantia book, those two beings are Andon and Fanta, the man and the woman. They are the founders of the human race. But almost 1 million years ago, they were born. So that's how old this world is in terms of the human evolutionary will beings on the planet. So when they talk about the age of the world, I suppose what they're talking about mostly is the progress, the evolution of the human evolutionary will beings. Once human evolutionary will beings have been created, made, started, from that point forward, that's what really counts. Not necessarily the fact that this world is 5 billion years old or whatever. On any planet in Nebadon, if I, as a magisterial vonal son, should go to that planet in any capacity that I, as a magisterial vonal son, go to a planet, judicial actions, magisterial missions, bestowal missions, the intellectual progress would have much to do with the planetary age and the help of the Adams and Eves of that planet. Adams and Eves go to every single human evolutionary will being planet. The non-breathers, every single one, every single type of human evolutionary will being planet receives an Adam and Eve, the biological uplifters. While the three-brained peoples are capable of a slightly higher planetary evolution than either the one or two-brained orders, all have the same type of life plasm and carry on planetary activities in very similar ways, much as do human beings on Urantia. These three orders stand on an equal footing in the ascension career. And the Urantia book mentions that all human beings are of the same order of sonship. Every single human evolutionary will being in all of creation stands as in the same level of sonship in terms of rank or authority or things of this nature. All the different races are 100% equal in the eyes of God, in the eyes of higher beings, in the eyes of higher magistrates or judgment or anything of that nature. Every single human being is 100% equal with any other human being. They stress this quite a few times, at least a few times, quite a few times. They stress this in the Urantia book. There is no difference in the afterlife for human evolutionary will beings in terms of race or anything else about being a human evolutionary will being. They are of the exact same order of beings, and they are exactly the same and equal in every way from this life on to becoming finaliters. The human evolutionary will colors are red, green, blue, orange, green, indigo. On this world, the red, Native American, yellow, Asian. The blue is an amalgamation of different colors, the white race, indigo, the black race, and the green and the orange were eliminated, although the Urantia book will talk about all this in terms of the strands of the green and the orange race that exists in, say, Egypt or other parts of the world. The Urantia book goes into this extensively about the entire history of man over the past almost million years. When the intellectual and ethical progress of the human race has reached the limits of evolutionary development, there comes an avonal son of paradise on a magisterial mission. And later on, when the spiritual status of such a world is nearing its limit of natural attainment, the planet is visited by a paradise bestowal son. Michael of Nebadon was the first bestowal son here. He lived as Jesus of Nazareth. I am the second bestowal son here, currently living my life as a man born of woman on a bestowal mission as a magisterial avonal son. The chief mission of a bestowal son is to establish the planetary status, release the spirit of truth for planetary function, and thus effect the universal coming of the thought adjusters. Michael of Nebadon did all this. Michael of Nebadon resolved the rebellion of Lucifer, Satan, Caligastia, the spiritual ruler of this sphere. At least it was put into the course. Not every being was jailed in terms of spiritual jail worlds. Not every being in rebellion was put there, but the court process was begun because Michael of Nebadon attained his sovereignty as living as Jesus of Nazareth on this planet, the seventh bestowal amongst the creatures of his own making, and he has to do 7 of them to attain his sovereignty. And he released the spirit of truth on this planet, the spirit of the Son, the spirit of the Creator Son at Pentecost, just like it's described in the Bible. And he effected the universal coming of the thought adjusters to every normal-minded human being on this planet. Not every normal human-minded being on a given evolutionary world, such as Urantia, receives a thought adjuster until a bestowal son has been on that sphere. I think they say here the chief mission of a bestowal son is to establish the planetary status. Maybe they say that first because that's most important. If there's planetary status to be established on a apostate world such as Urantia, sin-torn world such as Urantia, sin-torn in the sense that higher sons of God, Lananandex, went into rebellion against the rule of Michael of Nebadon, the creator maker of this local universe. So sin-torn in that sense. Uh, 49 5.26. Here again, Urantia deviates. There has never been a magisterial mission. Oh, by the way, on chief mission of a bestowal son for myself, Caligastia, the spiritual apostate ruler of this planet, is still on this planet, and he will be removed from this planet after my life and after my life in the flesh, after my life as a human being, as a human evolutionary will creature. Shortly thereafter, my life as a human evolutionary will creature on this planet, Caligastia, will be sent to the prison world. He has not been sent there yet. He is still on this planet. Here again, Urantia deviates. There has never been a magisterial mission on your world. Neither was your bestowal son of the avonal order, such as my order. Your planet enjoyed the signal honor of becoming the mortal home planet of the sovereign son, Michael of Nebadon. Machiaventan Melchizedek served in sort of kind of like a magisterial son for Michael of Nebadon as a local son. So Michael of Nebadon is the sovereign, or going to be the sovereign after his life as Jesus of Nazareth. They know his life as Jesus of Nazareth is coming. Jesus of Nazareth is coming. So he's the sovereign. He's the creator son. He only does this once in terms of being as a baby born of woman, as a male baby born of woman. He only does this once on all of the potential 10 million inhabitable planets in his universe of Nebanon. So he decided, and it makes sense, that on his particular sphere, considering the sin-torn reality of it, a Melchizedek would do the magisterial mission instead of a magisterial vonal son such as myself doing a magisterial mission. It was simply, and it is simply, more appropriate for a Melchizedek to do it in the overall picture of love, goodness, care, strength. There are many reasons.